The vegetation fire that took place in Phoenix over the weekend is now fully contained. We'll tell you what one resident is saying about that fire.
Plus, Governor Tina Kotek is responding to the deployment of National Guard troops in Los Angeles as she's calling it dangerous.
And we saw lots of storms yesterday, but today we're expecting them to be a bit more widespread and have a greater potential to see one of those storms turn severe. I'll have more details for you on your Tuesday coming up.
Live, local, late breaking. This is NewsWatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6 o'clock on June 10th. Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm Carlos Murrieta.
And I'm Brinkley Hill, and we're going to check in with Storm Tracker 12 meteorologist Sarah. We had a really hot day yesterday. I know that heat's continuing, but I know people really need to be aware of some of these storms that are continuing.
Yes, and we did see quite a few storms yesterday, and even a severe storm warning we had issued into Siskiyou County for us. But we'll be tracking that again today, and even with the potential that we saw yesterday, I think there's a pretty good chance of even seeing one again for us on our Tuesday. But this morning we are tracking showers over into Lake County for us, but the rest of the region is on the drier side and a bit more calm for us this morning. A live lookout, temperatures are a bit more mild. We're into the 60s into our west side valleys, maybe a little bit cooler into the 50s over to the east side, but overall a great start to our day. We will be tracking out as we're working our way into the afternoon. That's when we'll have the potential for those scattered thunderstorms and the possibility for an isolated strong to severe storm. And it is going to be staying pretty hot for us today. Slightly less hot. Those highs are going to be into the 90s for us today, not those triple digits into the Rogue Valley. But like I mentioned, into this light green area is where we have the potential to see some of those storms for us today. This dark green is where we could possibly see some of those storms turn more severe. And what does that mean? So we're going to have pretty abundant lightning with these storms. Really strong outflow winds are possible in some slightly bigger sized hail, and along with some pretty heavy downpours with that. But let's check in with those highs for us today as well, because it is going to be feeling not so great outside. Now, not another triple digit day like yesterday, but I would argue that upper 90s not going to be feeling so nice. So as you're into the second half of your day as well, we will be tracking the potential for those storms and that higher heat. So coming up in our next forecast, I'll go ahead and break down when exactly we'll start to see these storms begin to take off.
A shelter is giving Grants Pass residents a more reliable reprieve from this heat. Mint is opening their navigation center as a cooling space for the summer. The shelter's regular hours will now be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays, and when temperatures are above 90 degrees like today, hours are going to be extended to 7 p.m.
Medford Fire says the vegetation fire in Phoenix on Saturday was caused while mowing a fuel break, and even though the effort was to mitigate fire risks during moderate fire danger, mowing is not allowed between 1 and 8 p.m.
Now, one resident said that Jackson County Alert System actually helped her feel more prepared when this fire started. NewsWatch 12's Damien Alvarado is showing us how coordination and early warning made a huge difference.
I got alerts that were text messages and voice messages and phone calls, and also to my email.
A fast-moving fire broke out over the weekend just feet away from homes in Phoenix. Jessica Bach lives right behind where the fire ignited. She says early emergency alerts gave her and her family the confidence to act fast.
When we got the first notice, we packed up and kind of had our evacuation items ready and loaded up in our car and moved our vehicles to the road.
Jackson County Fire District 3 says over 20 engines and crews from Medford Fire, Fire District 5, and other entities worked together to contain it.
The fire crews were on it so quickly. Our Phoenix police came door to door to check to see how many residents lived in the house to make sure that we knew that it was a level 2 evacuation.
Jackson County Emergency Manager Delaney Richmond responded to us, crediting strong coordination between fire, law enforcement, and emergency management. They say real-time communication was key to keeping people safe. We also received tips from Fire District 3 saying avoid outdoor burning or spark-causing activities in hot, windy weather, report smoke or fire to 911 immediately, clear dry brush and grass around your home, use fire-resistant materials and seal vents, and
sign up for the alerts. It's easy and it could save your life.
These vegetation fires have continued to spark early this week from human error. Take a look at this half-acre fire in Eagle Point from yesterday. Fires like this also sparked in Medford and Gold Hill. The Oregon Department of Forestry urging people to be cautious as extreme heat does continue. Now, we spoke with Natalie Weber from ODF, who says these grass fires aren't going away anytime soon.
Around 5:15, we received numerous reports of a fire out near Agate and Pruitt Road. They were able to stop it pretty quickly. As we're continuing to see grasses dry out, we're seeing just more and more grass fires because they're more susceptible. There's not as much moisture content in the vegetation.
This wasn't the only incident, as another grass fire near I-5 just north of Gold Hill also broke out. ODF says they're also monitoring areas where thunderstorms are expected, as dry fuels and lightning could lead to more fire starts.
Community members gathered for a demonstration at Vogel Plaza, which focused on civil liberties and workers' rights. This follows the recent federal detention of David Herrera, president of the SEIU United Service Workers West. According to organizers, Herrera was detained by ICE during a raid in Los Angeles while advocating for immigrant workers. Demonstrators say this event isn't just about Herrera, but about protecting free speech and the right to protest.
And overnight, the Pentagon has deployed nearly 700 Marines to Southern California, and this is to help the National Guard respond to the immigration protests that have turned into clashes with authorities over the last few days. Governor Tina Kotek is now responding to that situation. She's calling President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops in Southern California absurd, dangerous, and undemocratic. She's making it clear the power she has over National Guard deployment, and this is to address the concerns Oregonians may have about Trump's highly criticized decision to send troops in. She says anti-ICE protests across Oregon have so far been peaceful, but when it comes to violence, that is something that will not be tolerated, and the state's response should be just that, a state response.
It is unlawful for the president to do what he has done in California. He did not get the request of the Commander-in-Chief of the California National Guard, Governor Newsom, to deploy in that state. What we are focused on here in Oregon is being clear about, I'm the Commander-in-Chief, we are taking care of our communities. If there is any activity that needs to be taken care of, it will be done by local law enforcement.
Kotek says that as the Commander-in-Chief of the Oregon National Guard, she prioritizes their resources for the needs, values, and protections of Oregonians. She closed by addressing the immigrant community, saying immigrant residents deserve to feel safe and protected in the state.
On to a traffic alert. Drivers in Siskiyou County can expect delays this morning as repair work on U.S. Route 97 has just begun. Traffic between Weed and McDowell are expected to be impacted as repairs are happening between First Avenue and East Ball Mountain Road. Driver will face a one-way traffic control and up to 10-minute delays from today to Friday between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. Work on the highway started near Mount Hebron and will move south towards City of Weed. Caltrans is urging drivers to slow down, follow those speed limits, and plan for those delays.
New this morning, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife has launched a new initiative to reduce gray wolf attacks on livestock in Northern California. A strike team will be providing around-the-clock support for livestock producers facing frequent conflicts with wolves. This pilot program will also include in-person support. CDFW staff will help create conflict risk management plans for these ranchers. They'll also include outreach and training events. These latest efforts to reduce wolf livestock conflict uses non-lethal practices. Livestock producers in Siskiyou County who are interested in participating or learning more about this program can find those details on our website. A registered sex offender that may have hundreds of victims has now been arrested. The Mount Shasta Police Department with other agencies arrested 68-year-old Colin Rick Nelson for having child pornography. Nelson has had prior convictions for child sex crimes, and following the most recent arrest, information indicates Nelson may have more than 300 victims dating back 30, even 40 years. The Sacramento High-Tech Crimes Task Force and local county Internet Crimes Against Children investigators assisted in this arrest.
Today and tomorrow, the 173rd Fighter Wing will be conducting night flying operations. Flights will take place between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. through tomorrow night. Residents will likely hear flights taking off and landing at Kingsley Field, but much of the flying will be in the airspace east of Lakeview. These flights are an essential part of a course curriculum for student pilots. Flights will last approximately a half an hour each.